tomorrow. We'll have much more on that game as we go. Let's go to the snow globe that was Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, Matthew Stafford and the Rams. The scenes fascinating. Jalen Hurts, what could he get done? Eagles down 7-6 early. Saquon Barkley, here he comes, and there he goes.
This is shortly after the long Jalen Hurts touchdown run on third down. I mean, Saquon essentially goes untouched. It's actually a really good job of running away from the front set by the Los Angeles Rams and the big chunk runs early for Philadelphia.
Now the snow starts to pick up. We're in the third quarter. We're tied at 13. Alex, tell me what we see here and just watch the leg of Jalen Hurts as he's going to get bent backwards. We're going to see it twice. What do we see?
Yeah, awkward here. I mean, Jalen holding onto the ball. Big D-line for the Rams. They played great all day, kept them in it. But this one going down awkward. You can see him trying to protect the football and twist his knee. And this is obviously something big to keep an eye on here going forward.
He was clearly compromised the rest of the game. Eagles kick a field goal 16-13. Now Jalen Hurts back to pass, and here comes the D.
And in that moment, you're like, oh my gosh, here comes the momentum flipping on the road. The Rams, that defensive line started to control the football game.
But the story of the entire weekend, critical turnover.
There he is. Yep. Shout out to Peanut Tillman. It's another example. It's just like the Bernard one again. He punches that right hand out, and it's the huge swing turnover-wise for Philadelphia's defense.
But it only turns into a field goal. 19-15 still in it. Matthew Stafford, another fumble.
Yeah, you can't do this. Your defense is playing absolutely sensational. Credit Nolan Smith for humping around or running that hump around, but that turnover huge.
Again, only a field goal. 22-15. It's a one-score game, and then it's Saquon, and then it isn't anymore.
He's 4 yards past the line of scrimmage, and Jalen Hurts is putting his hands up for a touchdown. Again, a nice, really good at the line of scrimmage adjustment and a huge chunk run.
And so now the game feels completely over. 28-15, they missed the extra point. But someone forgot to tell Matthew Stafford that. Here he comes, right down the field, quick touchdown, Colby Parkinson. They have all 3 timeouts left. They get a quick stop, they're down 6. Here comes Stafford to win the game. How about this catch from Puka Nacua?
In this moment, I'm saying Rams are going to win the football game. It's a great connection, unbelievable throw, probably a better catch by Puka to get it and his feet in bounds. We've seen this almost 60 times in Stafford's career.
But then Lewis, Jalen, Carter makes the play of the game.
Yeah, I mean, the entire game, they pretty much keep this man in check. I mean, they're devoting resources to him, 2 and 3 blockers at a time. In the most critical moment, they turn him loose.
That was on third down. That sets up 4th and 11. Watch Carter gets in there again. And that's all she wrote. Stafford throws it out of bounds, and the Eagles hold on to win it 28-22. They're on, and they will host the NFC Championship game next week against their division rival Washington Commanders. The question is simple. With this formula, D. Wood, with Saquon Barkley and practically nothing else in their offense, can this team win the Super Bowl?
Not. They need more in the passing game. You're going to have more. If you're going to play either Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, you're going to need more than
you're
what
going to play Jaden Daniels Sunday.
You play Jaden. We ain't even gotten to, start talking about him yet. They got to have more out of the passing. And Saquon Barkley is unbelievable. That weapon of the offensive line is unbelievable. Their defense got tested big time by Matthew Stafford. The passing game is lacking. And we've been talking about this now for some time, for weeks now. What's going on with Philadelphia Eagles passing attack? What's going on with A.J. Brown and company? They're going to need more. If they want to be champions, Super Bowl champions, you got to have it. Got to get more.
In the last 2 games, to my 2 quarterbacks over here, A.J. Brown has a combined total of 3 receptions for 24 yards. That's in their 2 playoff games. Saquon has been unbelievable. They found a way to hold on at the end. Can they ride this formula to a championship?
In some ways, and it's a compliment to how good this team is, that you can have a guy like AJ and he can be non-existent and you can still win big ball games like this. Listen, I think the Eagles got bailed out by the weather yesterday, right? In a lot of ways, this really played into their hands. I mean, I think if there's better weather, they probably lose this ball game. I mean, they net passing of 65 yards. I mean, you're not going to hoist a Lombardi doing that, right? They've got to step up. A.J. Brown is one of the best receivers in football, right? Like, you don't have to get complicated with this run game, with Saquon, with this offensive line. When he's one-on-one, throw it to him. They've got to get him involved.
How you want to look at it is the question. No, they're not going to beat probably Washington or those AFC teams throwing the football the way they are. Okay, it has to get better. Last week, I thought they were covered up. This week, I didn't think that Jalen trusted when people were open. That being said, I do want to give him credit for some of the checks that he made at the line of scrimmage to create some huge plays. And then also, he doesn't give the ball away. Yeah. You got to give him credit for that. So while I do believe that there are examples yesterday of him just not being confident throwing the football, you also have to give him credit for not doing the critical mistakes and doing everything that's necessary to not lose the game, and that spins the way to win the game. These are the checks at the line of scrimmage. I know Lou wanted to get in here.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so they got a load front, meaning everybody on the defensive line for the Rams, big bodies, is up kind of towards the left of the line of scrimmage. They got little guys near the bottom of the screen. Jalen checks to this. That means they got big people blocking little people. Mailata's blocking a corner, okay? Their right tackle, Lane Johnson's blocking a corner. That's how you get so many people that's away from the football in huge runs. But that's a check by Jalen Hurts. And the one late in the game, Alex knows his safety's dropping down to the offense's right. Jalen's going to alert, opposite, meaning we want to run away from him. He takes Saquon, flips him to his right, and what happens is you get a numbers advantage, and then if one guy gets out of his gap up top, which is what's going to happen sometimes against this offense because you're selling out to stop it, this is a huge run for Saquon, and that safety doesn't take a necessary angle, and it's space and green grass for Saquon in this offense.
Game, and can they win the Super Bowl with it being the way it is really comes down to this. It's really about explosive play creation, right? That's what you're looking for. If they keep getting the same kind of explosive production out of the running game, and they do take care of the football, and they are opportunistic and intentional with turning the football over, yeah, they can win the championship. Now, if the running game all of a sudden, if Saquon isn't ripping off plus 20, plus 50-yard runs like this, which right now is kind of like buffering some of this inability to push the ball down the field, then they get into trouble. But you know what? This isn't about winning the way that we want them to. This isn't about style. This isn't about what we wish. Because, look, Buffalo just did this, right? Josh Allen just had a game where he really wasn't a factor throwing the football, but he ran it. He didn't turn it over. They did turn it over. That will win you championship.
The theme of the weekend, there are 4 teams left. They've played 7 playoff games. They have turned the ball over 0 times.
There you go.
That's how you win playoff games.